They landed on Tarshal Prime with weapons drawn, armored figures marching in unison through clouds of dust and shattered neon. In the war-scorched capital, only one life form remained outside of hiding, small, trembling, and blue-skinned, standing awkwardly on a single leg like a stalk bent by wind. Her name was Kirathil of the Vari, last of her embassy. And the only reason she was alive was because of the humans. The Brassian Dominion, cruel and towering reptilians, had crushed every coalition on their way to this sector. They called Tarshal Prime cleansing fire, their term for conquest. But on their long list of enemies, they'd left a note in their own war codices, translated awkwardly from their deep-throat dialects into Standard Galactic: do not engage protected assets of the Terran Confederation. Even if unarmed. Even if alone. Even if surrounded. But General Rock ignored the note. Because he saw only prey. The humans had left 3 days before. Not in retreat, but under orders. Earth had always believed in non-interference once peacekeepers were in place. They had offered sanctuary, not dominion. They gave Kira their word: if anyone touches you, we will know. And we will come. The Braxians found her in the ruins of the old Senate building. She didn't run. She just watched them with those black liquid eyes, clutching a small silver token in her hand, a gift from her human friend, Lieutenant Ava Brooks. The coin shimmered dimly with pulse detection nanotech. It wasn't just sentimental. It was a signal. General Rock chuckled when he saw it. Little bug sends a cry to its warm-blooded gods, he hissed to his underlings. But they are not here. And I do not fear threats delivered by soft-skin myths. He approached her, claws flexing. Kira didn't speak. She merely opened her hand and showed him the token, glowing now with a faint red pulse. "Don't," she said, voice shaking. Rock backhanded her across the plaza. Exactly 47 seconds later, a pinpoint tear opened in space just above the city. No fanfare. No warning. Just a flicker. A shimmer. Then fire. The dropship was sleek and unmarked, its black hull absorbing light. Inside, there were only 3 Terran soldiers. That's all it took. Sergeant Una Dale, tall and quiet, with steel in her spine and fire behind her eyes. Corporal Mateo Resnick, exosuit pilot and demolitions, who once disabled a cruiser's engines with a screwdriver and chewing gum. And Ava Brooks, the translator, unarmed, unarmored, but undeniably dangerous. They landed fast. Rock barely had time to turn when the ground cracked beneath him. A sonic thud knocked 3 Braxians off their feet. By the time he blinked, Una was standing beside Kira, gently helping her up. Ava stepped forward. She didn't shout. She didn't scream. She just looked around at the Braxians and said in clear, calm galactic common, "We gave one warning." One. The soldiers around Rock raised weapons. Lasers clicked into alignment. But none fired. Because no one wanted to see what humans did when they were truly angry. Rock snarled, stepping forward again. "You think we fear?" The next part was silence. Ava moved. There was a blur. And then Rock was on the ground, throat crushed, gasping for a breath that would never come. His own claw had been turned against him. No one saw how. They just saw the result. She stood over him, voice still calm. "You touched her." The Brassian soldiers hesitated. Their orders were clear. Their general was dead. Ava looked at them, one by one. "You've mistaken our kindness for weakness. Our empathy for passivity. That was your last mistake." Mateo's exosuit locked into kinetic mode. The hum of charging capacitors filled the plaza. Una didn't move. Her hand simply hovered near her thigh, where a blade longer than her forearm was sheathed. "Pick up your dead," Una said quietly. "And leave. Now." The Braxians hesitated again. Then dropped their weapons. The soldiers gathered Rock's body and left without another word. And the humans stayed, quiet, still, like lions deciding if more meat was needed. Kira watched, stunned. "You came," she whispered. Ava turned to her, face softening for the first time. "Of course we did. We said we would." "But I'm just me," Kira said. "I'm not your soldier. I'm not even human." "You're our friend," Una said. "That's enough." News spread fast. Brassian warships began redirecting. The Dominion issued internal communications barring any future contact with humans or their protected assets. The term spread. Every mercenary guild, pirate gang, and slaver ship updated their protocols. Do not touch a friend of humanity. Ever. Because no one wanted to see the storm again. Human diplomats didn't mention the incident. Official reports stated only that the humans responded to an urgent signal in the interest of galactic peace. But the footage was already on every dark net in 3 galaxies. And in that footage, the humans weren't peacekeepers. They were wrath incarnate. One warning. That's all they gave. 1. The funny thing is, humans weren't always like this. Back when they first entered the galactic scene, they were awkward and slow to trust. So many tried to take advantage. They were mocked, cheated, even enslaved in some outer fringe systems. And when the first real war came, against the Journey pirates, everyone thought they'd fold. But humanity didn't fold. They remembered. They learned. And above all, they bonded. Harder and deeper than any species had ever seen. You help a human, they help you back 10 times over. You protect a human child, they'll guard your family for generations. You save a human life, you earn their undying loyalty. Kira had done nothing like that. All she did was share a piece of fruit during an evacuation, before the war began. Ava had been hungry. Supplies had run out. And Kira, barely a diplomat, barely trained, had simply offered her a nutrient slice from her belt pouch. You looked tired, she had said. Ava never forgot. That small moment became a thread. Then a bond. And then, when the galaxy turned cold, a beacon. So when Rock laid his hand on Kira, he didn't just strike a Vari girl. He struck something far worse. He struck against a human memory. And that's the one thing no one ever survives. Because humans remember who hurt them. But they never forget who was kind. And for that, they will cross galaxies, burn fleets, and walk into war alone, just to make sure their friend gets home safe.